Hi there, it's Phil Smy again. This time I'm doing something a little different. A lot of you have asked me, especially after the Ty Lopez things, like, what books am I reading? Because Ty is big on reading books, and I said I was big on reading books. So I'm going to try once a week little book reviews about some of the books that I've read and either really liked or really didn't like. Things that sit in the middle, who cares about? So the first book I'm going to do is this one, which is The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. Now, if you want me to talk about Ryan Holiday, I can't. I don't know anything about the guy, and I don't think it's important. When you read a book or, certainly things like the Ty Lopez series, you have to separate the message from the messenger. So what Ty Lopez is saying, it doesn't matter who Ty Lopez is. What Ryan Holiday is saying, it doesn't matter who Ryan Holiday is. So I'm just reading the book, don't know anything about the guy, now that we have that out of the way. The Obstacle is the Way. When I started reading this book, I went out with a friend of mine and he said, that sounds like another one of these power of positive thinking, new age bullshit books. And at the beginning, I kind of thought he was right. It starts out, this kind of pretentious way with talking about Marcus Aurelius and this and that and the Romans and the thises and the that's and it seems like a bunch of crap. But the interesting thing is this book has one guiding principle, which is really the hallmark of a good book of this type. One guiding principle, and that is we don't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react or respond to it. So again, I'm going to say that. We don't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react or respond to it. That's the guiding principle of this book. There, done. You can stop watching about a minute in. But if you want to go on, let's say, so this book starts out, like I say, with quotes from Marcus Aurelius and some little story about Marcus Aurelius writing in his daily journal or whatever he did. A couple of key lines here from Marky, and that is, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. And I think those two lines are not only profound, but also show that there was drug use back in the Roman. To that end, there's no such thing as an obstacle. But simply, and perhaps they are bloody difficult, but simply opportunities, if you can switch your way around it. The world is unpredictable, and in this book, Holiday talks about people like Edison, Amelia Earhart, Gandhi, some Rockefellers, Steve Jobs, Ulysses S. Grant. Ulysses S. Grant, again, I don't really know anything about him, but the fact that he wasn't born with that name, his name was actually Hiram Ulysses Grant, and he changed it, and S stood for Sam, which was his nickname. Anyway, I'm diverging always, sorry. So, those people, they used their problems as opportunities. They grew through their problems, which is really what this is all about. So hopefully you don't have the same level of problems that somebody like Ulysses Grant has fighting in a civil war, but that you too can grow through your problems. And you get over the blaming part of it, and of course you're going to have feelings, fear, frustration, anger for these things that are happening, but they're outside of you. So now you can look at what's inside, and this book, like I say, kind of founds itself on the concepts of the Stoics. And the Stoics are a bunch of guys who sat around in togas a couple thousand years ago. But, so this thing they had three disciplines. And these three disciplines were perception, action, and will. So I want to talk about those disciplines, and that's what this book, really the key of this book. So the first one is the discipline of perception. And this is, how do you choose to see things, And there's a space between the event and how you evaluate it, And in this gap, that's where the magic happens, really. That's what this is all about. Is that in that time, you can choose to be objective, first of all. Being objective is key. You can choose to control your emotions. And you can choose to get perspective. Perspective is all about what's the picture and what's the frame that the picture's in. So perception is key. Action. In action, of course, you have to do things. Otherwise, you're just one of these people I hate that just talk and don't do. So, you can use your creativity, be persistent, be ingenious. In other words, just do the shit that needs to get done. Forget about your emotions and your ego. So yes, persistence. Never give up. The process, in this famous IBM saying that just because one woman can have a baby in 9 months doesn't mean that 9 women can have a baby in 1 month. The process is the process. Be skillful in that process. And remember, there's no such thing as the right way. The right way is the way that works. So if somebody says, no, you have to do things like this, tell them, no, I'm going to do things in a way that I think will accomplish the goals. And if you accomplish your goals, then to hell with them, they were wrong. And most importantly, expect failure. Not everything works. Few things work. Learn. Again, go through the cycle. When you fail, that's an obstacle. Take an opportunity and learn from it. Quote here from F. Scott Fitzgerald in a book, which is, genius is the ability to put into effect what is in your mind. There's no other definition for it. So that's the thing. Action. Right? So the third discipline, of course, is the will. So we can't control other people, so we can build inner strength. Life sucks. Get on with it. So stay calm. Train yourself. Don't panic. Thank you, Douglas Adams. Don't panic. Panic screws up everything. Plan for the worst, hope for the best, and as Maya Angelou said, be unsurprised by anything in between. And, there's a difference between giving up and acceptance. I accept the situation for being this. It's not going to stop me in my ways. And personally, I do meditation every day. I find meditation has greatly changed my ability to, focus like this. So you can be calm, more calm. Can panic less, I recommend meditation, but whatever. And sometimes it helps to work on a project that's bigger than you. Bigger than your bank book or bigger than your ego. And I think that helping the world not only sets you on a right path morally, but it also gives you a North Star that you can follow, and maybe stay the course a bit better. Stop trying to reduce the problems in your life. Okay, take yourself out of problem situations, but stop trying to influence those things on the outside. You can influence yourself. I'm saying it over and over again because, like I say, there's one guiding principle in this book. I'm going to finish this off with a quote from Marcus Aurelius, of course. Objective judgment now at this very moment. Unselfish action now at this very moment. Willing acceptance now at this very moment of all external events. That's all you need. I hope you like these little book reviews. I liked this book. It started off, I was a bit, but at the end of it, I thought it was very powerful. It's very simple in its principle. It does give you some examples, but it's just the principle you need. You can't control the outside. You can only control the inside, at best. Okay, thanks. Back to your regular scheduled programming. I'm Phil Smythe. See you soon.